My name is Grace Morgan, and I am a 47-year-old former registered nurse turned minister in Sacramento, California. What I'm about to share with you is my near-death experience, a testimony of what happened when Jesus showed me the shocking truth about fasting. What I experienced completely transformed my understanding of fasting, prayer, and the spiritual realm. Before we dive in, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Please leave a comment below and let me know. It's always comforting to feel a sense of connection, even when we're miles apart. Also, don't forget to like and share your thoughts on this testimony. Let's have an open and honest discussion so we can learn from one another. Now, let's begin. It was August 24th, 2023. I had been on a 7-day water-only fast, something I deeply felt led to undertake by the Holy Spirit. Fasting wasn't new to me. It had always been a significant part of my spiritual journey. But this time was different. There was a heaviness to this fast, a supernatural weight that I couldn't quite explain. That morning, I was driving to our church's early morning prayer meeting at 5:30 a.m. Sacramento was unusually quiet, and a light rain was falling, something rare for late August. I had worship music playing softly in the background, and I was praying, feeling an incredible closeness to God. Just as I turned onto Sunrise Boulevard, my entire world changed. A drunk driver in a large SUV sped through a red light and collided with my car, hitting the driver's side with devastating force. The impact was catastrophic. Later, I would learn that the crash caused severe internal injuries, multiple organ failures, and that my heart stopped beating for 18 minutes. But it's what happened during those 18 minutes that was more real than anything I've ever known. The transition from life to death was instantaneous. One moment, I was in the wreckage of my car, and the next, I felt myself floating above the scene. I could see everything with startling clarity: the paramedics working desperately on my broken body, police officers directing traffic, and even the driver who hit me, slumped on the curb, his face buried in his hands. Then, everything around me began to fade, and I was drawn upward into what can only be described as a tunnel of living light. The light was alive, pulsating with an energy that was neither harsh nor blinding but warm and inviting. There was no fear, no pain, only a profound sense of peace and an all-encompassing love that permeated every part of me. As I moved through the tunnel, I realized that I no longer had a physical body, yet I felt more alive and complete than I ever had in my earthly life. My senses were heightened to an unimaginable degree. Every sound, every color, every sensation was richer and more vivid than anything I had experienced on Earth. Suddenly, I emerged into what I can only describe as the outskirts of heaven. Words failed to capture its beauty. The colors were unlike anything seen on Earth, vibrant, otherworldly hues that seemed to glow with their own inner light. Music surrounded me, a symphony of melodies that came from everywhere and nowhere at once. The air itself seemed to shimmer with life. What caught my attention most, however, was the sight of golden threads stretching from Earth into the heavens. These weren't just random strands, they were intricate pathways of light, each one pulsating with energy and life. As I looked closer, I realized they were spiritual connections, created by people on Earth who were fasting and praying. It was as if I was seeing a spiritual map of the world, with these luminous pathways bridging the gap between the physical and spiritual realms. Then, I heard his voice. It was unmistakable, Jesus. His voice wasn't just audible, it resonated through every part of my being. It was both commanding and gentle, full of love and authority. Grace, I have brought you here to show you what your eyes have not seen and your ears have not heard, he said. At that moment, Jesus appeared before me. He was both familiar and beyond description. His presence radiated pure love, power, and holiness. His eyes were like windows to eternity, filled with compassion and understanding. Standing in his presence, I felt completely known. Every flaw, every failure, every triumph, and yet completely loved. "Watch," he said, and with that single word, a series of visions unfolded before me. Each vision revealed a profound truth about fasting and its impact in the spiritual realm. In the first vision, I saw a young woman kneeling in prayer. She was fasting, her face pale but radiant with determination. Around her, I saw a dark cloud, representing spiritual opposition. But as she continued to pray and fast, a golden light began to break through the darkness, forming one of those radiant pathways I had seen earlier. Her fasting was creating a direct connection to heaven, and through it, angels were dispatched to aid her. Fasting weakens the hold of darkness, Jesus explained. It strengthens the spirit and aligns the soul with God's will. Through fasting, my people released the power of heaven on earth. In the second vision, I saw a man fasting in secret. He had told no one of his sacrifice, and yet in the spiritual realm, his fasting was creating a ripple effect. Waves of light radiated from him, touching his family, his community, and even strangers he had never met. Fasting in humility and secrecy carries great reward, Jesus said. What is done in private is honored in the spiritual realm. In the third vision, I witnessed a church congregation coming together in a corporate fast. Their united prayers and sacrifices created a massive surge of light that pushed back a wall of darkness, threatening their city. I saw chains breaking, lives being transformed, and demonic forces retreating in defeat. When my people come together in unity to fast and pray, Jesus said, strongholds are torn down, and territories are claimed for my kingdom. The final vision was the most personal. I saw myself fasting and praying during times when I felt my efforts were insignificant. But in this vision, I saw the unseen impact of those moments. Each fast, each prayer, no matter how small it seemed, was a thread in the grand tapestry of God's plan. Never underestimate the power of obedience, Jesus said. Even the smallest act of faith moves mountains in the spiritual realm. As the visions ended, Jesus looked at me with such love and compassion that it brought me to tears. Grace, I am sending you back. Share what you have seen and encourage my people. Teach them the power of fasting and prayer, for the days are growing darker, and my light must shine brighter through them. Before I could respond, I felt myself being pulled backward through the tunnel of light. The next thing I knew, I was gasping for air in the hospital, surrounded by doctors and nurses. I had been resuscitated after 18 minutes of clinical death. That experience changed everything. It gave me a deeper understanding of the power of fasting and prayer, and it reignited a passion in me to teach others about these spiritual disciplines. Fasting is more than a physical act. It's a spiritual weapon, a direct connection to heaven, and a means of releasing God's power on earth. If you've ever felt led to fast or pray, but doubted its significance, let me assure you, your obedience matters. Even when you can't see the immediate results, know that you are creating pathways of light that bridge heaven and earth. Thank you for listening to my testimony. I hope it encourages and inspires you to pursue God with all your heart. Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Let's continue to grow together in faith and understanding. God bless you.